Hello, friends. Today we're going to begin with the new unit of our engineering chemistry for circuit branches. That's unit number 4, high polymers. So, you would have been crossed these words polymers in your lower classes polyethylene, polyvinyl chloride, etc. So, in the beginning, to begin with the high polymers, so you already studied about some polymers. Now, here we go with the high polymers. To begin with this, we have to start with an introduction like engineering plastics. How these plastics, polymers and plastics, mostly same, they have been used here and there. The words are almost common to each other. So, here we start with the introduction like engineering plastics. So, what is an engineering plastic? A plastic material, they have some mechanical property, a different mechanical property or thermal property that's higher than the normal plastics. Normal, or we can say it is a commodity plastic. The plastic which we use, PVC, polyethylene, we call them as commodity plastics. So those plastics, when it reaches some particular temperature, not a very high temperature, it's very low temperature, it will melt or it will change its shape, it will deform into some other thing. That's why those plastic can be recycled. For example, if you pour a hot water, that is water at its boiling point, into your plastic mug or tumbler which you have in your house, it will squeeze itself. You would have been watching this. Yes. But these engineering plastics, apart from these areas, they have very high thermal property. They have very high abrasive property. So, but only thing is they are expensive. That's why the manufacturings are very low, but they have a lot of applications. Yeah. So the properties are different. The weight are very high. That's molecular weight is very high. The strength is very high. And these engineering plastics can be manufactured in different complicated shapes, and they are very much useful, particularly for their property. And each and every plastics with these categories have some unique property. Example, polycarbonate, high resistant to impact. Polyamide, high resistant to abrasion. That's why these kind of polyamides can be used in mechanical things, a gearbox, rolling materials, etc. Even for ball bearing, which we used in the rotatory motors, nowadays can be replaced by the plastics. Yeah, certain plastics are self-lubricating. Certain plastic Teflon, you have been crossed the word Teflon coating for your cooking utensils. Yes, that's very very high heat resistance. So even on your cooking utensils, the coating will not come out. Yeah, they have mechanical strength, they have high rigidity, chemical stability. Certain plastic materials used to store some corrosive chemicals. You know which one is the most very high, very strength acid. That means the acid which have very high corrosive capacity. Yeah, the hydrofluoric acid or some hydrofluorosulfonic acids. These acids cannot be stored in a glass bottle because it can even corrode the glass. But that can be stored in a plastic material like this, which cannot be corroded. So these kind of plastics, there are a lot of examples. The examples not end with the things which you're seeing in the screen. You have to go and search about many more materials like this. But certain things which I listed out here is nylon 6, nylon 66, polyamides, you cross with an example, polycarbonate, just now we have that example. Then PIT, polyethylene terephthalate, polyamides, polysulfones, then Teflon, we call it as PTFE, polytetrafluoroethylene. Yeah, you have a lot of plastic like this, bakelite. In day-to-day life, your mother is using a cooker. The cooker consists of some material. And the black handlebar, it is a black light that is highly heat resistance. For that property, we, we use those plastic in that areas like heating materials, etc. So in the upcoming class, we continue with this introduction, like what is a polymer, what's the difference between the monomer and polymer, and what's the difference between the thermoplastic and thermoplastic plastics, etc. So thank you. We'll meet in the next class.